game on. 5S represents 5 minutes standard play. There's standard play, and there is Fisher random play. We're gonna have Petrov again. Knight f6 takes. Slim defense. Oh, there'd be a slim defense maybe. Okay, Ruy Lopez. Now what? Let's baby step it. Baby step it. I don't want to enter castle, knight takes, rook e1, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to enter that variation. Let's go with c3, preparing to retreat. Retreat. Bishop c2. I don't know if there's a big difference between castle or knight d2. I'm going to go with knight d2. Yeah. Okay, let's come all the way back. I don't want to deal... Yeah, I definitely want to just come all the way back. Lend support to this guy. Also, if there is a difference between knight b to d2 and castle kingside, it lies in the fact that maybe I want to first pivot on f1, go to g3, and then castle. Or in other words, if I'm not really seeing a use for making a rook move for when it's on f1 to e1, then I probably should be going with this queen knight's deployment first. Let him go on his little journey to g3, then I'll castle, and at the end of the day I'll end up saving a move. Keep that in mind. This is a blitz game, but that is an important detail to be aware of. You could, as a result, be buying yourself a move. Could be advancing this setup. Knight g3, let's roll. And now I want to castle soon. I do want to be also cautious of this f-pawn push. A knight on this square right now is keeping my opponent out of h5. Let's castle. Let's castle. And what? Let's see. Well, queen e2 is my first thought, and I think it's the right move. Reason for that, I want to be able to maintain a pawn on this square and the queens on the board. I need to be able to... I need my queen off the d file if that is to be the case. So if DE, DE. What's the big deal about me maintaining a pawn on E? The big deal lies in the fact that if I don't, first and foremost, the knight could pivot on d5, and then look to get to maybe f4. But the main thing really is that after the knight moves, f5 is all of a sudden available. My queen gets pushed around, and then pawn push again, my knight gets pushed around. Nope, nope, nope. I do not want to have to deal with that. So that's why capturing on this square with the pawn is important. So as a result of this last decision by black to give up their light square bishop, my eyes are immediately fixated on the light squares on the board. f7. Maybe my bishop getting back on this diagonal is going to be good. Also, that was their better bishop when considering the two bishops, their dark and light square bishop. That guy was very important. I do have these two squares available to my knight, the bishop bearing down on this square. The queen playing here is threatening bishop takes h6. I do have queen here. Queen here. Knight here. is on this bishop. I think I want to chase the queen away first. Get that queen out of there. And then and then play here. I think bishop here is on the cards. Let me just do this. Knight here. And what next? Oh, queen to g3. I'm on g7. g7, h6, e7, a knight on this square. If you're castled, if both sides are castled on the king side, and a white knight ends up on f5, you should be very scared. If you're on the white side and your opponent has a black knight on f4, same thing. Be very scared. There's a winning move here. I just have a feeling. That's my first thought. There's just too many pieces around here doing too many good things. My bishop, knight, and queen. There's something going on. Something going on here. So what is it? I also have this as a possibility, rook here. But there's something tells me there's a sack on one of these two, queen g3 or g4. This is at least winning a pawn, playing my queen to one of these two squares. Queen g3. Is there any difference between the two? Probably not. I may not even take this pawn. If pawn push, I might actually want to just play my bishop to b3, which would then be threatening a mate in 2. Okay, mate in 2 threat. That pawn is pinned, and this pawn is now threatened. This pawn is not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. He's hit twice, defended 0. Hit twice, defended 0. It's very unlikely that there's a way to defend it. It's very unlikely that my opponent can make one move and have all of a sudden 2 pieces defending that pawn. Hit twice, defended 0. What do we got? King in the corner? Maybe it's being overlooked that I could be taking on g6. I have my 2 bishops, knight and queen, attacking my opponent's king. This knight is out of play on c6. This pawn negates it. This bishop not doing anything. The rook isn't doing anything. The knight's kind of just sitting. And they're less than 10 seconds away. Less than 10 seconds out. So this is defense. But they had to really exhaust a lot of time there. I'm going to just take it and then take on this square. Or actually, let me do this first. I'm on the rook. If the rook moves, then I would take here. Okay. Now I could actually take here first. Right here. Let's take that. And then this. And then this. Bishop block. I'm on everything at that point. Okay. Good game. Ruy Lopez. So there was a lot of maneuvering early on. A lot of maneuvering. Good game. Let me back up here. Copy. Copy that. And right here. Okay, so I don't know about the bishop move. I don't know that this bishop knows its place just yet. A lot of times you'll just delay that guy's development. Look at the choices that both bishops have. Which one has more choices? This guy. Reserve those choices. How many options does he have? 1. Might as well do it. Get it over with. This is not going to be a surprise to me. I already know. I already know you're going to do that. So do the moves you know I already know. That's a weird way to view it, but what I'm getting at is retain flexibility. Maybe here, maybe here, maybe here. Or maybe b5, bishop b7. He has a lot of choices. Retain those choices. So bishop e7 is what I'm getting at. Is probably an improvement. I don't know about, well, this is all, this decision right here, the decision to give up the light square bishop, probably not a good one. Probably not a good one. And the decision to actually release the tension, maybe that's not good either. I wonder if you could be doing something like b5. If you could make this pawn move somehow and then get your knight to d4, maybe that's an idea. So look into that. Maybe there's something involved with b5 takes and then push. Or actually, how about this? Consider push here, capturing on c3, and then undermining my pawn. Push, take, push, take, and then you have this square available for your knight. And in this game, the knight really was not able to contribute. So this sequence of moves is, at the very least, a way that you could now know to be activating your knight on c6. Because as it stood in this game, my pawn alone took that knight out. 1 point was constraining 3. That, by the way, is what I use quite a bit when I'm assessing positions. I'm doing a point, like a little bit of a point system. I'm seeing 3, I'm seeing 1, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of playing up a piece in a sense. And I'm constantly doing these little comparisons, and eventually it starts to paint the whole picture a bit more clearly as to what exactly is going on and who would maybe be the favorable side as a result. One poorly placed piece could translate into you just having a poor position. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, that idea. d5, or excuse me, d4 takes, b4 takes, and then knight to d4. Your knight has something to do at least. The decision to give out the light square bishop, I think, just turns out to not be good. These two squares are too great. Too great. You can't allow a knight to come here and sit. And that's why I was already feeling at this point that like I had something right here. Well, I didn't say it at this point, but it was close to that point when the knight is able to get to this square. It's just a very valuable position.